Hello, this video is for Kat on Ravelry. I wanted to try to demonstrate that technique that I was telling you about, and this is the way I would repair a knitted fabric, a hole in something that I'd knitted by using this grafting method. And basically, all it is going to do is reproduce the stitch exactly by following the path that the yarn would take as we were knitting it, because as we know, knitting is a series of interlocking loops, and it's obviously just one yarn. It starts off in one corner of the work, and then that yarn makes a series of loops going this way, and then when it comes back it makes a series of loops going this way, and then it goes back and makes a series of loops going that way. And we can reproduce this with a needle as long as we know the path that we need to take. So that's what I'm going to show you. It's actually quite simple. It's not complicated at all. So let's just give it a try. Let's pick a place in this knitting, and let's see. I will try to reproduce, let's start with this little stitch right here, if you can see it, and you'll definitely see it when it starts turning blue. And you always go under, you're always going to be going under the legs of a given stitch, and you'll always want to go under both of them at once. So we'll always be going through 2 loops. So I'll just go under these 2 loops because that is the path that yarn that makes that stitch takes. It goes through these 2 loops, these 2 legs of the stitch above. So after it does that, it comes down and it goes under the stitch through the stitch below. So we're going to go under those 2 loops. And there's a very easy pattern here that you'll see in just a minute. So now we just go back, now it goes back up. And to do that, it just follows this path. It goes back into the hole that it came out of, and then it goes through those 2 loops. Then it goes back down through the hole that it came out of, and it goes through the next 2 loops. Back into the hole that it came out of, through the next 2 loops, back into the hole it came out of, next 2 loops. So as you see, this is very easy. You're always just going right back into the hole that you came out of and going through the next 2 loops. That is all knit stitches do. That is it. It is very easy. And I've actually made a little diagram here because this is what it looks like. This is what a row of knitting looks like. And if it were the first row, like the cast on row, it would have something holding it here, and then the needles would go through these loops, right? And it would be going in this direction. And that's what it looks like. And then when you have the next row, it's this. So it's doing the exact, and then of course the needles are here in this loop, but it's doing the exact same thing. The yarn is going through, it's going, well, I guess I shouldn't have started here. This is the wrong part. Let's start here. It's going under these 2 loops, out of this hole, then it goes back down through the loop it came out of, under those 2 stitches, up again, back through the hole it came out of, under 2 legs, up again, etc. And that's it. And that's all there is to this pattern. And so now let's try to do it on, and you can actually use this for reinforcing sock toes or for making over knitting, like color patterns on your work, all sorts of things. But let's try to use it for repairing a hole. which is what you want to do. So we have to make a hole here. Let's make one right here. So I hope you can see. So now we have a hole in our knitting right here. And that might be what happened to your sock. But basically what we want to do is exactly the same thing. We can pull one of these little yarns that we have that just got snipped and follow it through where it came out of. So it came from here, it went around there. It doesn't really matter how far we follow because we could always take the other end of our yarn and then go further in the other direction so that after we stitch through the hole we can take the other end of the yarn and go farther that way so that it'll be more secure. So you basically just start somewhere close to the problem. I'm going under those two legs of that stitch there that I can see this yarn is connected to. Then I'm going up under those. You don't want that. Deep enough so we can fix it. So now we're at the hole. But it doesn't matter because we know that since we just came out of this hole down here, that's where we need to go back because we're always going into the loop we came out of. So there. And we go under the next two legs. This is only one leg, so this is the next one. It's where the rip is. Okay. Go back to the hole we came out of. And then across, because that's going to close that hole right there. Back into where we came out. Next. And the next one. Back into where we came out. Two legs. Don't sew up your cut end. Back where we came out of. So that's probably enough. And all you do then, see, it's closed the hole completely. And you can just pull those out because you don't need them anymore. They are completely useless. And weave them in. Like I said, you can take this yarn, oops, and go further, keep following the pattern, going over that way. See? And that's all there is to it. I guess there's one more thing I can show you is if this happens somewhere that if it unravels a little bit more than that, like, I wish I had my crochet hook. Where did that? Here it is. Oh. Okay, so where's my hole? There. So when I did it just now, I didn't let these go anywhere, but that's not particularly realistic because they probably will. So you just take those out and you're left with, they won't go any farther than that, really. It would be unlikely. That might be where you are. And then you're left with this live stitch here because those two little ends came out. And then this live stitch might unravel further, and then you just have a drop stitch, which, you know, we get those all the time. We know how to fix those, right? All we do is go through the live stitch, pull it through the loop, no problem. So you can do that just indefinitely as far as it goes back. But let me get my yarn. It's exactly the same process to fix that. I'm pretty sure this is what you have, unless you got lucky and you didn't get this live stitch, in which case it's just what I did. But if you did get this, it's the same thing. Just find your yarn, find one of your ends, and see where it's coming from. Mine's coming from right here, I think. It's really hard to see. I should have used a different yarn, but I actually don't have, this yarn doesn't have very good stitch definition, but I don't have very much worsted weight yarn. I tend to knit a lot of socks, so I thought it would be easier to see this kind. So that's where it's coming from, and then it goes through here, and it comes out, and that's where it's broken, see? And then it's exactly the same as if we hadn't taken this out, because, let's see, we just want to make sure we go under. We want to make sure that we don't twist the stitch. So just lay this loop, this live stitch, sort of flat. I guess I kind of got ahead of myself. Let's just start over from there. So I've picked up this part. This is where my yarn is coming from. And I want to go under 2 loops. One of them is this live stitch. So just lay it flat and go through those 2 loops. That's it. It's very easy. Go back where you came from. Go through 2 loops. I'm going to have to close because that stitch just got spread apart because there's nothing holding it, the 2 legs together now. So we want to put them back together. My hair is getting knit up with my yarn. That's no fun. So then we're going to go back exactly through this. This is that live stitch again, except it's no longer live. We fixed it. Like that. Go back in the same hole we came out of. Go over again. And that's it. So it's fixed again. I really have to get used to this camera. So that's all there is to it. It's really not hard, and I know you can do it, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks.